Hey there, Adam here. State of Play turned out to be very kind to horror fans. Resident Evil 4 Remake and the sequel of The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners only confirms it. However, many players, including me, paid special attention to the first fragments of gameplay from the upcoming spiritual successor of Dead Space series, and that's why today I would like to share with you some information about it. The Callisto Protocol was announced almost 2 years ago during the Game Awards through an impressive and at the same time very brutal CG trailer. The presentation, despite the fact that it didn't contain any actual gameplay, still made quite an impression on gamers. Unfortunately, developers from Striking Distance Studio, founded by Glenn Schofield, the original creator of the aforementioned Dead Space, made us wait a long time for further information. Because only this year they decided to tell us more about the game itself and present how it actually looks in motion. I gathered the most important information which I managed to get from various interviews and articles, and I hope that it will give us a clearer picture of the whole project. At first glance you can see the inspiration from the cult series, from the holographic energy bar located on the neck of the main character, through claustrophobic locations, to the mutated creatures, here called biophages. All this naturally brings to mind association with Dead Space. In fact, even the outline of the plot is thoroughly a bit of cliché. Because here we have to control the fate of Jacob Lee, a cargo ship pilot who crashes his space freighter on Callisto, one of the moons of Jupiter. In the year 2320, in which the game takes place, this planetoid was colonized by humans due to presence of the large amounts of water. What's interesting, the creators did their homework well, because in fact, according to the research of scientists, the surface of the moon is composed largely of ice, under which the surface is the salty ocean. But coming back to Jacob, after the emergency landing, he will be thrown into a prison called Black Iron, which is confirmed by the outfit visible on screen right now. In the meantime, of course, strange creatures will appear, and our task will obviously be to get out of this damned place and probably to decipher how these macabre events took place. Of course, as the first trailer reveals already, behind everything is a mysterious observer, so I will not be surprised if once again all of this horror was born in the minds of authorities of the sinister corporation, here called the United Jupiter Company. You have to admit that it doesn't sound very innovative. Cool thing is that our protagonist is portrayed by Josh Duhamel, an actor known for example from the Transformers series or Call of Duty World War II.
Welcome to the bloody first. You're a long way from Texas, farm boy.
The developers emphasize that the main character is neither a trained soldier nor a gangster killer, but they decided to give him a number of weapons at his disposal, both ranged weapons such as pistols and shotguns, and melee weapons as well. In this case, the main tool will be an electric baton. Each of them can be upgraded, but for now the developers haven't decided to show the system in which this will be done. The fight itself, however, is to be an important element of the game, and limited ammo resources are to intensify the feeling of danger. According to the developer, such a limitation will make the title more of a survival horror rather than an action game with scary elements, which, as we know, the Dead Space series eventually evolved into. Another direct reference to the Cult trilogy is the introduction of mechanics which, at least on paper, looks strikingly similar to the kinetic module used by Isaac Clarke. Here it will be called GRP, and thanks to it we can easily grab an opponent and press him against a rotating fan, wires or spikes sticking out of the wall. Okay, since we briefly discussed the extermination tools of biophages, it's time to take a closer look at these creatures. Their exact origins are unknown so far, and the only information confirmed by the Striking Distance is that they are mutated guards and residents of Black Iron Prison. Discovering what factor caused their appearance will probably fall on us. And since I mentioned the appearance, the creators wanted to give the impression of reality, so the starting point of each monster model was a scan of the human body, and from there the artist experimented with forms to achieve the final, most probable look. You have to admit that they managed to achieve that goal. Jacob will encounter a variety of enemy forms, from humanoid stalkers through egg-like facehuggerish stationary traps, which will deplete our health bar as soon as we approach a dangerous distance, to ogre-like giants, which probably won't be stopped by a single round from a rifle. As you can see, the bestiary also does not knock the originality door too heavy, at least when it comes to types of them, because the design is fortunately a completely different league. Apparently, the creators decided to raise the brutality of the game to a higher level as well. Their pursuit after realism probably gave them the idea to prepare the animation of death and massacre of monster corpses using source materials in form of authentic recordings from police files. As a result, several scenes were cited in the Game Informer interview, such as the one where Jacob is decapitated and falls to the ground, with his tongue sticking out of his severed throat, or the one where the protagonist's body is turned into a rotor, and before he is chopped in half by it, he momentarily resists the crushing force that makes his body tremble unnaturally. It sounds awful, and I'm sure some of the more sensitive players will look away from the screen at times like this. I also suspect that the game may not necessarily be a popular theme among streamers and other online creators because of this brutality. And how does the technical layer of the game looks like? Well, from the first previews, the only thing talked about was the next-gen experience and basing the game on Unreal Engine 5, which incredibly raises hopes for the first serious horror game with unprecedented graphics for next-gen consoles, probably boosted by the implementation of ray tracing. However, on the day when the first fragments of the actual gameplay was shown, information appeared that the title will also be available on previous generation consoles. This makes us wondering as to how the creators will manage to adapt the powerful Unreal Engine 5 to present a decent level of performance on already dated hardware. As far as I can see, the only game currently available based on this technology is Fortnite, which, with all due respect to its popularity, is nowhere near to the level of graphics that the Callisto's published fragments seems to present. Well, we'll just need to wait and see. Let's just hope it doesn't turn out to be another Shadow of Mordor cross-gen discrepancy. Finally, a few words from me. I am very curious what kind of title the Callisto Protocol will turn out to be, because at the moment it evokes quite extreme feelings in me. On the one hand, it seems to be a kind of a copycat from Dead Space in almost every aspect, offering nothing different except from the art style and setting. But this argument can be undermined by the fact that the behind the creation of this game are largely the original creators, so I don't know if calling Callisto a ripoff would be a right thing. On the other hand, it arouses very positive emotions when it comes to the incredible atmosphere, the fact that the behind it are the original creators of Dead Space, which is one of my favorite games, and of course the amazing graphics. I also have a strong feeling that Glenn and his team really want to show how the games can look like in the future, especially since they already call the game, in my opinion rather brashly, as for a title. I don't know how about you, but I'm looking forward to this game, with a bit of distrust of course, but I want to be pleasantly disappointed when it finally arrives.